Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Tim with you. It's 6. Lost my voice overnight, apparently. 6 a.m. here in Texas, and we're watching Irma as it grazes the Cuban coast here. And what we've noticed is some definite weakening of the structure due to the frictional effects as it passes over the landmass there. For example, the Dvorak curve of the eye, as you can see right here. This is the eye when we were doing the live cast about, this was about 8:30, or I'm sorry, 9:30 Eastern. And you can see we have this very cold annular eye wall circling the storm here. And on the Dvorak curve, this is about 7, which normally we see wind speeds of about 130 and 140 knots with a structure like this. But at the current time, that has degraded, and let me bring that up. You can see what we have now. So that white that we had earlier, I was going to try to let you compare that. Yeah, you see how there's this black, which is very cold, and then we go to this white, which is even colder. And what we have right now, we have lost the white almost completely, just a little bit of it there, and we're now down into the warmer shades of gray. And this corresponds to probably around 4 to 4.5, which is, this is associated with like 70 to 80 knot wind. However, we do have the persistence of the circulation going on, so we definitely have not seen that much weakening. We are down to Cat 4, and it's still continuing to be very dangerous, but you can see the very dramatic change overnight in the structure, and even some very warm cloud on the west side here. Each of these lines is about 30 miles coming away from the center here. So that's just one way of looking at the eye. And the position that I had with this last frame was 22.6, 79.1. So let me go to the other charts and let you see what's going on. This is the NHC plot showing Irma at 5 o'clock Eastern, which was about 2 hours ago. Category 4 with 155 knots sustained winds, and that was largely due to measured wind speeds by a Hurricane Hunter aircraft that had been in there earlier. And I'm sure that's going to gradually, the speeds are gradually going to diminish as it grazes the coast here today. So what are we expecting for the remainder of today? Well, one problem that we've had is the tropical Atlantic site. For some reason, it has not updated with the 0Z data. However, I don't really consider that a total loss, because we have an excellent opportunity to verify the 12Z data. The large-scale structure in the atmosphere has not really changed all that much. And we've got a ton of ensembles from 12Z that we can match up to the 8 p.m. and the 6 a.m. position here. And I've selected the best ensembles, the best high-resolution tracks, and let me show you what I've found here. These are out of like hundreds of tracks, the closest matches I could find. Now, the one that goes furthest inland is this yellow one. Let me make sure you can see that. Yeah, that's one of the European ensemble runs. And then we had another track. Also, this is the UK Met. We had another one grazing the coast here. That was one of the GFS runs. And these are all 12Z model runs. Then going a little further out, we had a European ensemble. We had another GFS, and then the outer was another European. So GFS and European are really what's tracking this pretty well. The other question is not so much how far north or south, but how fast the track is. The center of the storm seems to be outrunning a lot of the models slightly. It's moving very quickly to the west. For example, this position here, this is the 12Z position. So if that was actually verifying, we should see the hurricane back here, and instead it's way over here. So this is a 6Z position. This one is a little bit faster. This is the European run. Okay, so this northern one is a fast one. This is a fast one. This is a fast one. And then as we get closer to the landmass, we get into some of the slower tracks. Okay, so that's a slow one right there. The red UK Met one there. And this is a slightly slow run there. So what I'm seeing here is pretty good consensus taking this track pretty much right through the Fort Myers area. So just taking a median of all of these tracks, that would pretty much take it right through Fort Myers and Cape Coral there. I haven't found any ensembles or high-res runs that take it into the Everglades. So let's see here. Working through this very quickly. I'm kind of thinking as I go through this. This European ensemble is pretty accurate. It's kind of far north. The time track is pretty much dead on. This EE50. And that takes it right up through here. The eastern side of Fort Myers. The next track down here, this is the GFS. Let's see here. And time-wise, that's tracking pretty good also. I can just barely keep track of these lines here. Yeah, this is the GFS run for that. And then the runs that are a little bit closer inland, those are the ones that are going a little bit more to the west right here. So I think based on what I'm seeing, these are kind of taking the middle ground here, and I think that is probably going to carry the storm something like that later on tonight and Sunday morning. So we're looking at a pretty high potential of this coming through the Fort Myers area. If the track is offshore, even just a slight amount, that's really going to bring up the storm surge drastically, because the eye wall, of course, will follow on the right side of the storm in that area right there, and that would head right up on into the Fort Myers area. Now, as far as intensities, this is another issue here. You can see that the hurricane is going to spend some time over land, probably about a day along this coastal area. And also, at the same time, as I've shown you, we've seen a pretty drastic weakening in the structure here. Now, I don't have intensity runs, not pivotal weather, the tropical Atlantic side is not displaying anything. I'm going to the latest available here, display, and for some reason I'm not really getting any data here, so... Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, these... I'm just now catching this. Late cycle models. Let me make sure this is displaying here. Okay, I'm checking to see which one is which. This is the GFS. So GFS is going for about 24 hours of very slow filling and then very rapid deepening tomorrow night as it crosses the straits there. So it's bottoming, reaching a minimum at about the 42-hour point. That's going to be sometime during the day, Sunday there, as it approaches the coastline. And then the other one, the European model, slow filling, and then some deepening here down to 929 millibars as that comes towards the coast. So let me show you the high-resolution solutions. This is the European. So this is what we started with earlier this evening, 949 millibars. And then for tonight, when we do the weathercast, Saturday night, we're filling to 950. And this is where we get that recurvature to the north. By Sunday night, as it approaches the coast, we're down to, looks like 929 millibars. And that does show a little bit of discrepancy with this graph here. I'm not too sure why that is. No, that looks right on. Yeah, that's 929. Okay. So there we go. 929. However, with the GFS, with that particular solution, bottoming out at 895 millibars. And what that's going to look like, if that pans out, okay, this is midnight, 927 millibars. And this is where we're at right now, 12Z, 933 millibar center. Then it's going to graze the Cuban coast here for much of today. And then overnight, Saturday night into Sunday, this is where we're going to see that rapid deepening over these very warm waters, 85 to 86 degree water temperatures here, and the GFS really drops the pressures here. And at some point in here, we make landfall at 895 millibars. And of course, the GFS going a little bit further inland than the European model, which has more of a solution to the west. And I think we're probably going to actually see a path that is probably going to carry directly over Fort Myers. So this looks definitely pretty bad for that area. And the storm surge itself, that's going to depend very largely on the minute details of how far west or east the track is. But in any case, no matter what happens, there are going to be some, they're definitely going to get the eye wall coming through that area. So just to summarize, Fort Myers under the gun there, and then later on we're going to see the storm move up through the area between Tampa and Orlando, and then continuing northward into the northern part of Florida. So that's the way it looks at this time. And I'm going to make one last attempt here to bring up the late cycle data, because about 20 minutes ago I was not having any luck. So let me clear all this out here. And we'll just do a reset. So this was pretty good. We were able to verify the track over kind of a longer term than we've been doing over the past few days. When I first started the webcast 10 minutes ago, I was showing you an initialization there at 12Z. Now we're going to try to pull up the 0Z data and see if that comes in. So we're going to give that a try now. And you can see the multitude of tracks there. And they are continuing to display old data. So you can see that there, 12Z for Friday. So the ensemble data is going to be kind of hard to view without going off to other sites to try to piece that together. But in any case, I think that's a clear enough picture of what's happening. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to add. Oh yeah, we can see the spiral band starting to affect the Florida Keys there, coming up into the Miami area this morning. So we've got that going on, and here's a quick loop. And there it comes. The rain is already starting up there in the Miami area. So it begins. So we will continue watching this today. And we'll probably check in on things later this afternoon. I do have to get some sleep. I've been up all night here. And we'll continue to do the nightly webcast at the usual time at 8 o'clock. And hello to Sue M. and Fred Reamer. This was a unscheduled broadcast, so there's not going to be too many people here, but that will fill you in on everything that I know here. So we'll do a more detailed workup later on and check things out. So have a good evening, and we'll talk to you later.